We welcome you guys back. You guys have been hanging out with me with this entire journey of our top five series, my top five series of my top five jerseys of each NHL team. And if you've been hanging out since the very beginning, since we started at Anaheim and going the whole way down this wonderful info superhighway of ours, and we've landed, and we're almost at the end. We're at the those weird people in DC. We're at the Washington Capitals, and this was a tough one. Being a Penguins fan, this was a tough one. But interesting enough, we'll have some fun with this one. And as always, if you see this thing right here, that's a subscribe button. You want to hit that. If you want to see more hockey content, and we do some sports takes and some first reactions, some food reviews. We try to do variety on here, but most of the hockey content. And if you've hung out with us this whole entire time, we do appreciate you very, very wholeheartedly. Now, as I always do, whenever I did this entire thing, we do figure everything out, and this is how I do most of my homework. It is through the NHL uniform database, and what this is, I show this to every single team that we have done. Shows you all the templates and the time frames that we did, even the special stuff that they did, Winter Classics, Reverse Retros, all the time frames they did all the jersey templates, and even the time changes, and everything they have done. Throughout their entire throughout everything of the history. Now we realize something else as boom, we'll get this back up and we'll get that up and then we'll get that back up. Now we're ready to grow. Now, being a Penguins fan, it's it's hard to do a lot of the Metro Division teams, especially when you're a Capitals, especially when you're a Penguins fan, you have to deal with the Capitals, who you've beaten in the playoffs for eons and eons, and then finally, the Capitals, finally beat the Penguins that one year, and that was the year 2018 that they won their first Stanley Cup, beating, of all people, those Mercs from the Vegas Golden Knights in their first year. And Alexander Ovechkin gets his first ring. Well deserved. Don't have to be a Capitals fan, but well deserved. Ovechkin deserved his ring, especially if you beat the Vegas Golden Knights. But they came into the league in 74-75, and we all remember the red, white, and blue. It is simply enough. As I scroll, there is nothing to them but the stars and the stripes on and off. That is basically as straightforward as it is. And they kind of went with this word logo. Some people like word logos. Some people aren't crazy about them. But the Capitals have their own identity, and throughout the entire NHL, the Capitals have always had an identity. And this is pretty much it. Stars on the shoulders, the front of the chest, the word Capitals. They actually did this fairly decent. And, it's one of those things, if it isn't broke, I mean, like I said, they've gone with this thing, for a long time. And we'll just look real quick. As soon as I get, something of sort as it'll start moving here. But, you know what? We'll just figure it out as it goes along. Now, the old word logo, as it comes along, there it is. They went with this entire thing, as we just look here, from 1974 all the way to 1995. I mean, with a little couple adaptations, they went with this same template for all those years. How crazy do you have to basically be to just stay consistent with the same look for the entire time? Never had a third jersey, never had anything throughout that entire time until 1995, where they just had a complete rebrand and changed over to the Screaming Eagle and changed over the template. We'll get to that in a little bit, but everybody remembers that word logo. But it seems like nowadays, this is what they are pretty much identified. I personally think if you've been pushing this logo, this is their secondary logo, the winged eagle with the Capitol dome. Whoever did that logo needs a raise. Great logo. It should be on the front of the jersey, but the Capital logo, the Capitals word logo, is legendary in NHL. I mean, it's the Capitals are kind of a team where if it isn't broke, not going to fix it. Why fix it? So this stays on their shoulders, and they did use this logo for a stadium series at least. But this is what we remember them for. Basically, they just when they did the revamp, when they went the revamp to the Reebok era. We're just going to go back. When did they start doing this? Right about that same time frame. Right about that same time frame, 2007 is when they went to the Reebok era. They just basically just updated everything up as far as the word logo. It did fairly decent. And I'll tell you another thing. I'll tell you another thing for nothing. This is still their home jersey to this day, but when Reebok era had all those design tidbits through the sides of their waist, the chest, the torso, multiple stripes on the arms, the collar, all those tidbits. They never, when they went to the Reebok era, and then when they went to the Adidas era, Climalite, Aero Ready, the Prime Green, not change a thing. Still sells. Absolutely. I will give the Washington Capitals credit for that. This is their jersey in '07. It's 2025 going into 2026. It hasn't changed. And if it isn't broke, why touch it up? So there's many people say they need a rebrand. Even the white jersey. White jersey is one of the nicest jerseys out there in the league as far as road jerseys. Clean, and it's still the same multiple stripes all over the place on the cuff, on the sides of the jersey. They just stay consistent and still have enough room to try to touch it up every once in a while. We remember the old jersey. Now this is the old jersey that they had way back in the day, where you just had where you had the logo. It was all on one big sheet of fabric, and then they still had the stripes on it. Now this was the Winter Classic they wore. And it was the right decision playing against the Penguins that year, where the Penguins had to play in 60-degree weather at Heinz Field. I'm still saying Heinz Field, sorry. But Capitals won the game 3-1. Go back to an old school jersey. Made it a third jersey for a little bit. And this was the right decision for them to do that. And then we go to that year. It was, what was it? I have to go back and fish through it. I have to go back and touch it up. It was 95. It was go back 95. Boy, I'll tell you, this was one of the most underrated changeovers as far as rebrands. Rebrand the logo, no longer a word logo. You bring the Screaming Eagle with the stars, the diagonal design work. It was still CCM, going from CCM, the starter, the pro player era. You have the new secondary logo with the Capitol Dome on it and with the sticks. Boy, there was a lot of good players on that team too. They went to one Stanley Cup too, and they got the crap beat out of them by Detroit and that the Red Army line. But when they went to this design work, it caught on fairly well, and even as fairly well as to a point where they even made a third jersey with the Capitol Dome on it. And this also was a year. I think this was a year that Ovechkin came into the league and had this jersey. So if you find a number 8 jersey with the Capitol Dome, kudos to you. That's a golf clap. Well done. And as I trim down some of these, a lot of these rebrands went into it. And then they had a couple of the specialty ones. Now, these two, I'll give you these two real quick. This was the Stadium Series that they did. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Now, I did these videos a while back that I know where they played. Now, Capitals played one Stadium Series. I believe it was against Toronto, and I think they played this in Annapolis at the Naval Academy, and I think it was this one. This was kind of underrated. Big stripe on the side, one gigantic piece of fabric on the bottom, and caps, 3 stars, logo. Call it a day. Simple enough. I think they won that game, and then they did the Stadium Series where they had to go to Carolina. They had to go to North Carolina State University to play the Hurricanes. This is kind of the template of, should you start bringing the Eagle as the full balls out type of thing. I actually do not mind this jersey at all. I almost picked it up at one point. Outside the box, that's what the Stadium Series jerseys are. Outside the box, think brand, think brash. Don't think classic, think brash. And they did that with this jersey. I think they did. I think they had a home run with this jersey. I think I made this an A tier, or I could be wrong. I'll pin it up and then double check my homework. But Washington does fairly decent with their jerseys. I'm not going to give you. I won't fib you. I will go to my top 5. Let's just do this. I'm actually going to go the regular road jersey. It's one of the nicest white jerseys in the league. I said that before, and I'll just keep it at that, and I'll make it at 5. Number 4, I'm going to go the Winter Classic that they've played. And if I recall, they played this game, I think, at Nationals Park. It could be wrong. I have to double check this. Well, let's go back and check this. Their Winter Classics. They played. They did play one Winter Classic, and I think it was the one at Nationals Park. And I think they played St. Louis. I either played St. Louis or Chicago. I think it was Chicago, but if I remember correctly, it's one of those two. But I like the old look of the W, and the W, that middle point looks like the Washington Monument. That's another nice little Easter egg, but it's a classic look. Stripes or stars on that, stripes on the shoulders. Very classic, very classy. I'll give you Washington. Washington. I'll give you that one. I'll give you it 4. 3, throwback to the road. What was the road jersey back in the day when they redid this to prime green? Um, I I just think it was one of the sharpest remodels of a classic jersey. I wouldn't have been prime green. I think it just might have been climb a light and arrow already. Um, because when they went to prime green, they went to the W, and this was just a clean look of the old school jersey. And if you just trying to do the old jerseys, which some teams are trying to do, find the old stuff, make them new for the Fanatics line, for Fanatics authentic. We'll see how they do. Some of them are doing them. Some of them are just going outside the box and doing something brand spanking new. That's today's world. But Washington will never go away from this look. I put this at 3. Number 2 and number 1 is a pretty much a coin flip, and it could not matter either way. I'm going to go the red reverse retro, and I'm just going to go 1 with the black. And I just think basically it don't matter. Boom, bop, it don't matter. Both reverse retros hit home runs because everybody in Washington loves the Screaming Eagle. They will always love the original logo and the logo they have currently, Rock the Red. They will never leave that. But when they went to the Screaming Eagle, don't matter if it was the red. I think the red's gorgeous. But they went with the black. And Ovechkin, after he wins a cup and has this jersey, off the charts. Can't find this jersey. It's so hard to find. One of the and I personally think the red should be the third jersey, but they made the black the third jersey as of this second I do this video. But they are a gorgeous set, a throwback to back in the day. The red one did its job even during the pandemic year. Remember, the first edition was the pandemic year, and then the black one came out, and the black one just took off because teams like to jump on black and see if you can have something of that. But I think Washington did a fantastic job with their jerseys because the fans are loyal. They will always love. That is their look. They will, excuse me, they will always love that look, but they always remember what they had back in the day and just remember this is what they got them to the dance and pretty much got them to one Stanley Cup. And Washington has some loyal fans, and who knows? Ovechkin breaks Gretzky goal scoring record, and everything revolving around the Washington Capitals. Jerseys are tough. People like certain stuff. People hate text logos. People want to see change. Some people say though they've had this brand forever. Like Anaheim had the word Ducks forever, and then they went with the duck foot. Does Washington need a rebrand? It's not my decision. I would love to just see them just put the eagle on the front. But the Capitals word logo, I say over and over in this video today, on this exact video, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Why bother? So that was a fun one to do, and I'm down to 1. I think I'm down to 1. Washington was cool. I do Winnipeg next, and this was. Do you remember which one was your favorite? There's a lot to go at, and again, I go back. Go back to do you see anything from the NHL jersey database? Just scroll through them, and you can see all the stuff that was going on, and you see all the time frames and all that different stuff. So if you ever remember, if you're a Capitals fan, what was your favorite? Throw it in the comment section. And we're almost at the end. I will do Winnipeg next, and I might do a couple hodgepodges at the end, maybe the All-Star jerseys, and I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided yet, but I'll figure it out. Until then, the bar is closed. And as always, there is the subscribe button. Hit that if you want to see more. And I will see you legends in the next one. We're almost there. We're almost at the end. That's the Washington Capitals. That's the, well, basically, you know which ones I remember. So Capitals was a tough one. I will see you all in the next one.